Raymond?
Yes, sir.
New Orleans? All right, Louisiana? What'd you learn today about Team Loansharks?
Loansharks, they get fucking paid.
That's
Look
right.
at the car, bro. If you pay me.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Cars. My name is Alan Reichenthal. I'm a certified master sales consultant at Lamborghini Paramus. Been there about 5 years. I'm also the GS Motor Club Ask the Expert. I'm here to help with the whole sales process from the beginning to the end. You know him as Team Loansharks on Instagram. Chris, thank you for doing this.
Pleasure.
Welcome to GS Motor Club.
I thank you for inviting me here.
So, right off the bat, the very first question I have to ask you is, everybody wants to know, are you really a loan shark?
Depends who's asking.
Right now it's me.
Some would say yes.
Okay.
Some would say yes. You know, I'm in the business of lending. I own several finance companies, and I guess you would say I'm in the business of alternative lending. So when people can't get money from a bank, whether it be a real estate owner or a business owner, they have no other choice but to come to me, and I charge high interest, but I can get money on the street real quick. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does answer my question. It definitely does. Now, you grew up in this area, right? We're outside of Albany right now?
More down towards New York City.
Oh, that's where you grew up
Correct.
originally? Okay.
Correct.
And how long have you been in this area up here?
I've been up here for 20 years now.
In this beautiful compound the whole time, or this is recent?
I've been here for probably 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah, 12 years in this compound.
Affectionately known as the Castle.
As the Castle. Absolutely.
It is absolutely beautiful. We have a gorgeous day to do this interview.
We lucked out. I mean, really, we did.
So, before you were making actual money that you could buy an expensive car, were you into cars? Was cars something that you had lusted for, wanted from a young age, or did that develop as you had the money to buy?
No, you know what? So my story's, I'll tell you the quick version, but it's interesting. I mean, I grew up in a very poor environment, you know, my parents split up when I was very young, but grew up in a very, very poor economic status, if you will. And the one thing my father always did, kind of things here, things there. At one point, he had a little car lot. And I always remember when he would pick me up from school, he'd always have like a different kind of cool car, muscle cars back in the day. So it's really my father who really brought me into the world of cars ever since I was a little kid. And where the other kids were embarrassed by getting dropped off school, I couldn't wait to be dropped off and to be seen in one of his cars.
What was next?
I'm sorry?
What was the next car? Like, what was the next car? That was,
Yeah,
like,
what was the next car? Yeah, it could have been a 72 Chevelle SS to a Corvette. You know, he didn't really deal too many in European cars. But,
more American muscle stuff.
Yeah, it was really, I was always looking forward to what he was going to pick me up in next.
So that's how you started getting into cars?
That's how I started getting into cars.
So what was the first car that you bought when you could afford something that you wanted?
I was 16. I was 16, delivering pizzas. I also had a paper route while I was delivering pizzas.
Okay.
And I bought a Honda Accord, used.
Right.
It was like an 80, I think it was an 88 Honda Accord. And it was smashed in the front end, but I needed to get around. But what that did is, see, I always looked at back then, I mean, it was cool to have a car, but I needed to get a car so I could start making money doing pizza delivery.
Okay.
And so when I finally bought that car, it was cool, but it allowed me to actually earn money, you know? And so ever since I was little, I was trying to make a buck, and that first car allowed me to elevate my status in the the workforce at 16.
Okay. So from 16, let's move forward to like real money. So now you're making real money. What's the first car that you buy when you're like, okay, I can splurge a little bit?
Yeah. So my story's unconventional. I went to college for about a semester and a half, and I dropped out.
Okay.
College just wasn't for me. I kind of beat to my own drum, and none of the topics particularly interested me. Dropped out, had a couple mentors, and started little businesses here and there, and eventually that led me into lending. And there's a longer story to that, but that's
another day.
That's another day. Yeah, another day, another time. But
and more drinks.
And more drinks. Yeah, for sure. So when I eventually started lending money out, to businesses here and there, started building up my portfolio of businesses. By heart, I was always an AMG guy. Always an AMG guy. I have 7 of them. That's all my dailies. And when I really started making money, it's so funny. So there's a guy that, you're from the city, so we know there's always a guy on the block. Like there's that guy, right?
Yep.
And that guy went away for a long time. He got caught up and went away for a long time. And he had a 1994 S600. Okay. Bulletproof windows. Don't ask me why. That's for another day. But had bulletproof windows, S600. Those cars were always like, you always see diplomats driving them.
Sure.
Or security, like the president, security guards, or, a dictator. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And his family was kind enough to, I was interested in it, and I bought it.
Okay.
And so really my first cool car was that S600 V12. And boy, did I feel like $1 million driving that around.
I'm sure you did.
It had this prestige to it.
Yeah.
The follow up that, the first brand new car I ever bought right off the lot was a 2006 CL65 AMG. And if you know, they don't make the CL anymore, but the CL back in the day was the pinnacle. It was even more than the S-Class, right? And I have that here today.
You still have that car?
I still have that car. It's got about 13,000 miles on it. It's probably one of the lowest mileage for that year. And I don't drive it much, but people ask me if I were to sell any car, or if I had to get rid of all of them, I had to pick one.
One to keep?
I would keep that, even though it's worth...
It's a sentimental value.
It's a sentimental value.
Sure.
Because it still smells like a new car when you get into it.
Now, you don't sell your cars generally, from what I understand.
Very rare,
Every car you seem to have bought over the years is still back in the collection.
Correct.
Which we'll
a few. Yeah.
We'll look at the collection later on. So at some point you started to buy some exotic cars.
Correct.
And so what was your first exotic car that you bought?
Well, to me, the CL65 is an exotic car. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that thing is over 600 horsepower. I mean, back in the day, that thing could smoke a Lamborghini, no offense, all day long. That's a V12 bi-turbo. But really, if you think of really exotic car, the first car I got was an F430. Ferrari F430. Yeah. I don't have it, unfortunately, but
one of the rare ones that got sold.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So Ferrari became a car that you bought a couple others, right?
Correct. I have a couple others. Yeah. 30 years.
And then you did some modifications to them as well.
Yeah, some of them. And I got into the whole Novatec and Largo editions, which are extremely rare. They change everything about the car, and essentially, so I have 3 Largos.
You have 3 Largos, which there's only a few people in the whole world that I think can say that, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that has all 3.
And what 3 do you have exactly?
I have a 720S Largo, a 48 Largo, and the original F12 Largo.
Right. Well, that was the first Largo they built.
The F12. Correct.
Yeah, that was the first Largo.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that car is, that car has a very special meaning to me. It's just, that car is legendary. We call it we just call it the Black Beast. Everybody knows it by that name.
It's one of the loudest cars I've ever heard.
Louder than race cars.
I think it is.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll pop your eardrum if you're not careful.
It started out as a joke, really.
Okay.
It started out playful. I do these rallies. And when I started doing rallies, everybody I noticed had these team names, right? And so I said to myself, what could be my team name? So I said, I'm in finance, questionable whether I'm a loan shark or not, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do Team Loansharks. Everybody had a team, team this, team that, Team Loansharks. And then I noticed that all these guys had Instagram accounts, and you got to keep in mind, I don't have any social media at all. I don't even have a Facebook.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But what I learned is I started connecting with guys who had Instagram, who I became friends with, and so for me, it started out as a way to connect with people in the car community.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I never intended it to blow up or just kind of be what it is today. I have fun with it. I enjoy it. But for me, the real value is I've met some extraordinary people through Instagram for the love of cars, and I've learned so much about cars, just inspiration, seeing people's specs, learning about models that come out. I think I learned more from Instagram than I do from any other medium. In terms of cars, like back in the day, it was Car and Driver. Remember, it came on Sundays.
Road
you used to have to wait.
Motor Trend.
Road and Track. Yeah, you have to wait on Sunday morning.
Of course.
Now it's just at your fingertips. So that's kind of how it developed. Now,
the interesting thing about Instagram is that's actually how you and I met.
Correct.
I had put something on my story. I had an available allocation for an SVJ.
Correct.
And our mutual friend, Jason Thorgelson, known as Speed Racer 38,
So I'll
Right.
tell you a funny story
Yeah.
about that, right? I was always a Ferrari guy. I still am, right?
Right.
But so I wanted to get the TDF.
Okay.
The TDF came out. And as you know, no disrespect to Ferrari, but you got to do special things, and you basically got to shit gold nuggets to get, like,
Yes. Yes, to get on that list. The VIP
allocation,
list.
right?
Yes.
And I don't like to wait. I don't like to play that game. You know, that's just who I am. And I remember I went to a good friend that we know at a nearby dealership, Ferrari dealership. I said, "Hey, could I have the TDF?" "Oh man, you know what? Maybe if you buy the Lusso, and maybe if you buy this and buy that, you know, yeah, maybe." I said, "You know what? Fuck this." And I remember talking to Jason, and Jason goes, "You know what?" Because I remember that at that time the SVJ broke the record.
Yes, the Nürburgring.
And
lap
Nürburgring.
record. Yeah.
And I said, "You know what? I never was a Lamborghini guy, right? I mean, I always saw guys drive them, and I'd be like, look at those douchebags, you know." It never appealed to me.
Okay.
But then when the SVJ really came out, it raised my eyebrows. And I said to Jason, "Man, I wish, you know, I'm not a Lambo guy, but that SVJ is cool." He goes, "You want it?" He goes, I may be able to point you to the guy that gets you an allocation." And I go, "Really?" And then that's when he put me in touch with you, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you've maybe you're willing to go on camera. You've said the SVJ is your favorite car at this point.
I got to tell you, there's been no other car at this point that has given me the feeling that car gives me. I mean, I'm in love, and I got to tell you something. I'm in love with the brand. I mean, they really rolled out the red carpet. I went to Italy.
Yep.
I had a blast at the factory.
Did a
I mean,
special delivery.
for a first-time guy getting into the brand, totally changed my perspective. And I fell in love with the brand. And that car is just, man, it does stuff to me that, you know, that other cars don't. I can tell you that.
It's a 101 build. You did some
It is a
really
101 build.
We did some very special things to the car.
Correct.
And then you further enhanced it even beyond that.
Yeah.
Special. Tell me about the exhaust that you put in the car.
It's a Balboni.
Right.
A Balboni exhaust, and it's the signature edition, which he only made 63, but out of the 63, there's only 12 with the signature. Has the gold tint to it in the back, and you know,
Sounds outrageous.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's a beautiful car.
Yeah. So like, you know, what's interesting is, you know, I mean, you know the story of Lamborghini, right? What's the story of Lamborghini? How to do it Ferrari.
Yes.
It's like the same story, right? I kind of felt jaded by Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
And somewhere where I managed to go over to Lamborghini.
Yeah.
It's funny how things
now
work
you're
out.
a lover of the brand.
Love it.
And you'll never sell that car, I'm sure. And next one can be available. You'll get that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you mentioned rally.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the start of probably one of the biggest rallies that you do on a yearly basis.
Gold Rush Rally.
Gold Rush Rally leaves tomorrow, leaving from, which is
New York.
in your backyard.
Hometown, New York, yeah.
Is this the first time it's left from New
It's
York?
left there before. This is the second time it's left from New York, yeah.
So today, we're at your house not only for a special charity event, that we'll talk about, but it's also hosting sort of a pre-Gold Rush party.
Correct.
As well, right?
Correct.
So a lot of the people that are attending tomorrow will be here today in attendance.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, so I do this charity event called Cars, Castles for Kids. I have a deep, special kind of love for kids because I grew up, again, very poor. And so I give a lot to kids' charities. My belief is all charities are great, but kids don't have a chance. You know what I mean? As it were, adults maybe have had a chance and came down with something. But essentially what it is I throw a charity event. Everybody has to pay at the gate or they get kicked out or beat up. They got to come with something, but they come in. I get about 200 cars on the property, and all the donations, 100% goes to Albany Children's Hospital, which basically goes to a unit that does not get funded by the hospital. It's all relied on donations, and it's for terminally ill children and children that are fighting life-threatening illnesses to make their day better. So it may buy them a PlayStation. It may just hire like a clown or entertainment just as they're going through fighting that illness to brighten their spirits up a little bit.
It's amazing. And I think last year you raised, what was it?
40 grand,
40
a little over
grand last year.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to beat that this year.
I think we're already on track to beat it.
I know you had a few donations you posted that were pretty big already.
There's some guys that have
really stepped up.
You know what's amazing about the car community though? It's a small world, and everybody comes together in the car community to support one another. And I can't tell you how gracious I am. Even friends that I know in California, all over the place, that just support a cause that has to do with cars.
Car community is an incredible thing. I mean, it starts with the cars,
Right.
but it quickly becomes about the people.
Right.
I mean, I've become so friendly with people I've sold cars to. It's
Right.
beyond the cars.
Yeah.
And that's what, it's really honestly a big part of what GS Motor Club has tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
So GS Motor Club has developed this concept of bringing the car community together and then bringing in vendors to offer those people in the car community discounts at their shops.
That's great.
And it's really been taking off.
That's awesome.
And you're now going to be a member of the GS Motor
I'm
Club.
excited. Hopefully I don't get kicked out too much, because my experience, someone tried to get me to join a country club, and one day they said my cars were too loud, and I don't tuck my shirt in, and I said, go fuck yourself. That's it. I left my clubs there and everything, never went back.
And that was it.
Yeah, but I don't think this will happen with this club.
I got to ask you about your slogan.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I don't forget to ask you about that.
Okay.
What you go by this slogan.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. Some
Fuck
people
you.
have had it tattooed on their ass.
That's right. Everything from tattooed on their ass to now an actual brand.
Tell me
Fuck
about
you, pay me.
Tell me about this. How
Hashtag
did this
fuck
come
you, pay me.
about, and where are you going with it?
You know, back in the day, my dad was he recently passed this month, so it's interesting that.
Sorry.
It's good, man. It comes up. But my dad, back in the day, my dad was a rough dude. He's just a rough dude, but I credit everything to him. He really raised me. But back in the day, I used to hear him say that to people.
Okay.
Fuck you, pay me. He was in like a business transaction, and I'd be tag along with him, and he would say like, hey, fuck you, you need to pay me, right? And so that's how it developed. Originally, people think I stole it from Goodfellas. My dad was using it way before Goodfellas. Okay.
So he originated it.
So that's how it kind of came about, and now how fitting. I mean, I'm in finance, right?
That's perfect.
Fuck you, pay me. And the great thing is, you can respond to any question with that saying, "Fuck you, pay me."
But you're taking it to another level, though, right?
am.
You have an idea. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk
that
about
at all?
it.
So you told me a little bit. What are you planning on doing with the brand?
Actually, again, it's gotten so popular. We're going to be launching an exclusive high-end clothing line with Fuck You Pay Me. So think Versace, but Fuck You Pay Me. So I'm an avid collector of art, old master art. So think of like a picture of Mona Lisa on a shirt, high-quality shirt from Italy, and on her forehead it has tattooed Fuck You Pay Me, right? And so we're going to be doing a series of that stuff. It's going to be launching soon, and we're excited about it because it's a lifestyle.
Sure.
That saying is a lifestyle. It's not just a joke. It really is a lifestyle.
It
and wherever
totally
I
is.
go, people are like, man, can I get a shirt that says that? Can I get this? Can I get that?
Last year you did the masks.
Last year we did the masks, but we're really going to be launching it like seriously in a competitive way with all the other high-end luxury brands.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I wish you lots of success with that.
Thank you.
I'm curious if you have any inspirational stories or thoughts that you'd like to give to some of the young people watching that want to eventually be in a position like yourself and be able to live a lifestyle like you are leading.
Fuck you, pay me. No, on a serious note, yeah, I mean, listen, you've probably heard this before, and I don't want to sound like a Tony Robbins or any of these guys out there, but, really, you put your mind to it, you can really do anything. It doesn't matter if you went to school or not. Education is important in some aspects. Some aspects it's not. But I think today we live in a society of people with instant gratification, particularly with social media.
Yeah.
And people get the wrong impression where they see things and they're like, oh, okay, I can do that. But most people, to be honest with you, don't have the stamina.
Yeah.
I believe that you can't teach motivation. There's all these motivational speakers out there, right? I think it's a crock of shit. It's either you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have motivation, it does not mean you can't get it. The only way you get it is you have to have something deep down inside of you that burns, that it's going to push you to do things you don't want to do. And that could be a life-changing event. You could lose your job. This can happen, that can happen, right? I often say the best way to start a business is quit your fucking job, right? And next month you got rent due, or you got to, and you got to feed your kids. But it's going to force you. It's almost like a primal instinct that takes over to do whatever you got to do in order to survive. A lot of cats don't have that. They just don't, because they see the cars and they're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, show me what to do and I'll do it.
Right.
The bottom line is, you got to work your fucking ass off, and you got to do things that you're uncomfortable doing. Most people don't have the drive to do that because they quit too early.
Yeah.
You know, but they want things real quick.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we are in an instant gratification world, no question.
Yeah, you can't teach it.
No.
You either got to have it or not. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Chris, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day today to sit down with us and talk about your life experiences and giving us, you know, the message that some people want to hear. Is there anything you want to close with and say?
Yeah, thanks for having me on this show. You know, looking forward to it. And I got to say, you know, you've been great dealing with the car buying experience with myself. You know, us bougie guys are not easy to deal with. You know, we have some common friends that are not easy to deal with. But in any event, we're not easy to deal with. But you're a true professional, and thanks for being the ambassador to the Lamborghini brand. You've been great.
It's been my pleasure, Chris. Thank you so much.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this video. Share and like, and have a great day.